I think we're slightly different. Our debt obligations are less bad than Spain and Greece, or less immediate. But when it comes to things like Medicare and Social Security, if we don't get those spending items in order, we will have a huge unfunded mandate to support those programs. And that will be a big problem, that we will have to reform what we're spending on those or the taxes that we are raising. I think they're more manageable, and if we have our politicians sit down like adults, they could come to some agreement in the same way they did in 1983 under Ronald Reagan. I think substantively or fundamentally they are different situations. But the United States is not going to go the pathway of Spain or Greece necessarily. They could go the way of Germany, which, although it is much closer to socialism than the United States is, the economy is still doing fairly well. And they are actually the Bank of Europe right now, lending money to all these other countries that have made poor decisions. So I think it is important that our leaders take strong stances on our long-term debt. That's clearly an issue that both candidates, at least vocally, say that they want to get down. Policy-wise, I don't see either candidate having a mathematical policy that would get us there, because it's politically unpopular. Again, we'll have to raise taxes and cut spending. That's just it. And Mitt Romney says, okay, I'm going to cut taxes, but not in a way that's going to reduce revenue, but I'm not going to cut defense. In fact, I'm going to raise defense, and I'm not going to touch Medicare and Social Security for current retirees. That sounds good. It's going to be tough mathematically. And Barack Obama is just as guilty. He talks about raising tax rates on the wealthiest Americans, which is not going to raise enough money to continue the level of spending that we're going on right now. So we are going to need some more fundamental changes. But I don't see either candidate necessarily offering that. And just as an additional side, our economy is very much intertwined with Europe's economy. The worse Europe does, the worse our economy is going to do, and the harder it will be to pull ourselves out of economic trouble. And so we are definitely intertwined with what is going on there. A couple of the other strategies that European states have done which haven't worked so well is austerity. The belief that, well, our economy will do better if we just cut, which has in many cases led to a double-dip recession, where they go back into a recession because they lay off public workers, unemployment insurance gets cut, and all of a sudden no one can spend any money because the government spending is way down. And it's not clear that cutting all of our spending is going to help. In fact, it'll hurt. And that's one of the issues with the big S word, sequestration. Sequestration, I believe I'm saying that correctly. Which, if it goes through, will be devastating to the American economy and will send us right back into recession. Sequestration is a compromise that Barack Obama had with congressional Republicans that said, if we can't get agreements on what to cut, because we know we have to cut spending, but we can't agree on it, we are going to have these automatic, painful cuts that are across the board. That will cut social programs that we like, that will cut the defense budget significantly, which Republicans don't like, and in ways that both sides have some skin in the game. And so it's an effort to get both sides to the table to compromise because the alternative is unacceptable. The problem is that requires them actually having the ability to make those compromises, and that's going to be tough. Already you see the blame game going around, where Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney are in effect blaming Obama for these proposed defense cuts, even though Republicans agreed to them as part of this whole sequestration agreement. Liberals are incredibly unhappy at the prospect of having across-the-board cuts to things like education, to welfare, to food stamps, to all these sorts of things that would get cut as well. So it's very unpopular, and hopefully it'll get both sides to the table to make responsible spending decisions.